are the meek people? What do they look like? What does Proverbs tell us about those people who are wise and have meekness in their lives? Well, let's see. Proverbs 19:11. Good sense makes one slow to anger, and it is his glory to overlook an offense. So wisdom dictates that we're slow to anger. We're not like the kindling to the fire, but a big, freshly cut, waterlogged stump that refuses to burn. Instead of flying into a rage, the wise takes time and they take their time and use logic to judge the situation. They don't immediately launch into profanity-laced tirades, but carefully consider the circumstances. If the potential cause of anger isn't or doesn't necessitate a response, they overlook the offense and treat it as if it didn't happen. King David learned to do this. He said, I am like a deaf man. I do not hear like a mute man who does not open his mouth. That's what he's saying. When people are attacking me, that's how I am acting. I'm acting like someone who cannot hear and someone who can't speak. I'm just going to let it go. I didn't hear that. I'm not going to respond to it. I'm just going to let it go. So he chose instead to rely upon the Lord to deal with those who would stir up his anger, because he was hoping that God would not rebuke him in his anger. David's refusal to strike out in anger became a glory to him. Remember what happened with him between Nabal and Abigail and how all that, and when Abigail was able to diffuse his anger, to let his anger cool, because he was quick to anger, then David acted as if the offense never happened. There was an offense there, and it was wrong for that, but David could have acted out in sinful ways, and so Abigail prevented him from that, and David recognized that. And so that was a glory to him. Like, yeah, when you could strike out in anger, but you don't, that's a glory to you. And so that's good. So we want to be like those a wet piece of wood that doesn't kindle, does not kindling strife. It takes a lot to get us going, and that's how we should be. Now, Proverbs 25:15 says, "With patience a ruler may be persuaded, and a soft tongue will break a bone." So the wise person, instead of becoming angry and demanding his way, wisely sets his anger aside and instead acts with patience and soft words. Before David learned his lesson, Abigail demonstrated this truth. She was able to turn David's wrath away, to break his bones, as it were, with her kind words. David was persuaded by her patience and coolness under pressure. She didn't come back, swearing at him, yelling at him, getting all up in his face. What did she do? She said, "My Lord." She comes up and then gives him stuff and says, "Hey, I know that happened. Let me make this right." And so instead of coming at him with anger of her own, she came with a soft tongue, right? And that broke his angry bones. It stopped him right in his tracks. He didn't pursue it anymore. And so you see that demonstrated by her. Proverbs 16:32, "Whoever is slow to anger is better than the mighty, and he who rules a spirit than he who takes a city." So the wise understand that slowness to anger lifts you above even the most powerful fool. Again, Abigail was not mighty like David and his mighty men, yet she was better than David at that point. She was more deserving of honor than either David or Nabal. Nabal was the head of the house, and he had many servants, yet his wife, who ruled her spirit, was greater than him. In some situations, controlling one's anger shows that the person's spirit is stronger and more noble than those who even conquer a city. You see, like, this person is greater than someone who can come in and just brute force their way through. This person has control of their anger. They might be angry, right? They might see that this is an injustice. This is wrong. Wrong has been done. But instead of flying into a rage themselves, they control the anger and then come with soft words and are able to really take the city. They're able to take multiple cities. They're able to conquer because of what they did there. She was able to do all this, control David, control Nabal, by the wrath that they would have, the fighting that would have ensued. She's able to take control of that situation and diffuse it all. Amazing to see that this proverb, what God told us, this ancient wisdom from God, is true. If you act that way, it takes care of all those problems. So let us not be the ones who fly into rage, but let us be the meek who are slow to anger, who control our anger, who are able to use the anger in a proper way. Now, I'll come back next time and we'll take a look at a few of the proverbs that contrast that fool who is quick to anger and the meek, wise person who is slow to anger. We'll see the contrast pointed out here pretty blatantly, pretty clearly for us.